Welcome to the first episode of the Jam and Kenny podcast, where we will review pop culture for the most part, correct?
I think we'll do everything from pop culture. We'll do
to everyday life.
Whatever we give a shit about.
Yeah.
Whatever we don't give a shit about.
And that could change from week to week.
It might. We'll also be going into some of our favorite things on the internet, some of the things that are recent, some of the things that are not so recent.
Shit that made us giggle.
Yeah, 100%. What else are we gonna be doing?
Well, we're gonna be playing games. We're gonna be just overall bringing you guys news about current stuff. We're gonna be reviewing things from the past, movies, video games, and actually, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Or why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
As Kenny has said, my name is Jam. That is a nickname. We're not going to get into why. Maybe someday we'll get into why. But Jam is the name. That's what we're going to go with. And I am basically...
He's a cinemaphile.
Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it. I'm like, how do you put myself... That's a difficult question, to be honest with you. How do you put yourself into words, first and
Especially
foremost?
when you're into like a lot of stuff. But I don't know. I'd probably say like your highlight.
My highlights, I'm going to have to go with movies. I'm going to have to go with music. Some people, I thought everybody just loved music. Some people don't. Some people are like okay without it. I don't understand that. We're into collecting vinyl, collecting movies. I am that guy that has seen like every movie that I've seen at least 5 times. That's just a guesstimate, but I mean, that's no joke.
No. Yeah, you saw what? Let's talk about a recent movie you might have seen. Top Gun. How many times did you see that?
Top Gun? The most recent, the Maverick?
Yeah,
I've seen Maverick. I have the Blu-ray. I've seen, put it to you like this. I've seen the director's commentary at least 3 times. That's just me. But some of you may be able to connect with that. But we're also going to be going into a lot of, I won't say personal stuff. I'll just say more. How are we going to put it? How would we say
just
that?
Life. When we talk about life happening, how it reflects with us, how it might reflect with other people. I am Kenny. You can call me Kenny. My name is Kenny. It's also a nickname.
It's not
but
so
my
easy.
Name is Kenny.
It's not so ezy. You're trying to think of something and you're just like, wait a second.
What was I going to say? But
I should have written this down.
I actually went over this like 15 times while I was at work today.
I did not at all. If you can claim,
My name is Kenny.
Can, plainly see that.
Yeah. Well, my name is Kenny. I am also into music. I'm into movies big, but I'm not into movies the same way you are.
No.
I'm gonna say you'll notice that.
I'll say
go through.
You're into very specific movies. There's certain movies that you're just like things, and then there's most, and generally speaking, that's a no go. You might not even watch.
No, I watch.
movies.
Yeah. Leading up to this, we were talking about other movies. Like, I saw Barbie.
We saw Barbie,
but I didn't see Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stuff like that. But I maybe I can watch it and we can talk about it soon. Especially with like as wide as we do go with subjects, I think that might be a part that might interest some other of you going very deep into movies. But mostly I talk about video games, pop culture, media, comics, stuff like that. Which I mean, you talk about comics as well.
We'll get into comics. We'll get into the video games, definitely. I mean, I would call us gamers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of the highest caliber.
Yeah.
When we have time on the weekends.
Yes.
When we're not working.
We're weekend warriors.
Oh, yeah.
For video games.
Yeah.
Not saving lives.
Yeah. As well as other pop culture things, such as maybe... I would say, compared to you, I'm a little bit terminally online.
Yeah. You're a man of the net.
Not terminally Twitter. Not terminally Twitter. I do venture from time to time. But other things you might see on the internet, big stories with maybe not so much other YouTubers and stuff like that, but big stories with releases, maybe media for... shit, it is harder than I thought. And I practice this. I practice this.
This is where you get that
for
cut.
hours.
Like you're just going to get outtakes of us trying to figure out how to talk about ourselves. I'm telling you, put a camera on yourself and then just try to
Gets
talk
a
to the
little harder.
camera and try to tell the people who you are, and you will freeze too.
Yeah. Because I mean, I think sometimes it's like maybe you feel you're so much more than just these little things you put out there, which I think
Yeah.
is going to be great. So, like, again, we said we talk about subjects from things online, video games, and things that happen in real life.
You know what it is for me. It's almost like I feel a certain pressure to present myself to be a certain type of way, that the pressure builds so much that it just makes me go blank. Like I'm sitting there
Yeah.
going like,
Yeah. It's like, hey, how do I connect? You
yeah.
know, you trying your hardest to connect. But you know what? That's what this is all about. This is
I just want to be
talking,
loved. That's it.
talking, getting to know people, putting ourselves out there, and maybe, receiving some from you guys. We're on YouTube, which is a massive platform, which gives you sort of an access to, you know, millions of people, billions, I would even
Speaking of
say,
YouTube, you know what is my favorite part of YouTube? That's also my least favorite part of YouTube.
the comment section.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Yeah,
That's
but
correct.
we're putting ourselves out there. So if you guys hear anything that we talk about, you want to reach out, throw it in the comment section. We might reply. We might bring it up in a later video, but let us know what you guys think about. I'm gonna say our first subject today, which is
We're going to be going into it's beginning of the year. It's the first of the year, so it's only right to go into our top. We will be getting into video games, but today we'll be talking about specifically movies, the top films for us, or at least for me, at least in the year 2024. Um, this was difficult. This was very difficult. I showed you the list, and it was getting it to like around 30 plus movies,
oh, I saw that
and there was a
list.
lot of them, and I'm watching all of these movies. I'm spending quite a bit of money in the theater. I just realized that making this list, I realized that I'm going to be spending money
We
in the
broke.
theater. Well, that's why we're doing this podcast. But we're gonna go this time around with just the top 10. I somehow whittled down that list to the top 10, but we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna tell you right now, some of these films are bias, personal preference. Some of these films are legitimate, like there's some clout there that you need to be watching this film. There is a couple films like Oppenheimer this year, but nothing to the level like if you were hearing news about Oppenheimer and who's directing that and who's going to be in it. And it's almost like finding Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon when that was coming out, right? It's almost like, oh, there's those directors that just you're just gonna go see it because that director makes great movies.
Oh yeah.
The next Quentin Tarantino movie comes out, you're like that's gonna be on your top list just because it's Quentin. You know what I mean? Same thing with Martin Scorsese. Same thing with Christopher Nolan. There's a bunch of them out there like that. Steven Spielberg, of course. But so I have a couple films like that. I do have some films that I feel really bad are not on the list because I just, I desperate I'm sitting there going, I almost wanted to come back with you and be like, can we just make it 15? But it's just we can't. We're not going to do that. We're going to cut
Time
it down to
constraints.
10. Yeah, we're
Time
going to cut it down to
constraints.
10.
But hey, maybe later if this takes off, we can do longer podcasts.
Maybe we'll post like an honorable mention type of thing. It's just those ones that I was looking forward to, but just couldn't
We
look
don't have
past.
time to get too deep into.
We
them,
just
like
can't
some
get
of
it.
these other
We
ones.
just can't get too deep into that. Maybe we can make it do a separate one where this honestly could have been its own like hour and a half.
Oh,
long
I'm
thing
sure.
where we're just going
I'm
into all.
sure we
These,
can sit here and talk
just
about movies for
banger
hours.
after banger. There's a lot of them out there, and there's a lot of them out there. Like I said, the list was about 30 plus. Whittled it down to 10.
And I saw part of this list while you were still whittling down, and I got excited for some of them myself, which I will be right there watching right next to you.
Hey, we'll be there. Hopefully, you guys will be there too. We're gonna start off, and I'm gonna let you know right now. 2024 is the year of the sequel. Like there is every or damn near every film on my list is a sequel. There's a few originals, and I there's some, and a lot of those originals are also a lot of other originals are also on my honorable mentions list, but really I found it very difficult to just put those over the if anyone was to come at me and say, well, I'm looking forward to this movie and that movie and those are original films, hey, I'm not going to argue against that. So again, some of these are a bit of a bias. Some of these are just films that I think are just going to be too massive to avoid for anybody, and some of these films I'm ready for them, whether it be the director, whether it be just the film itself, whether it be the actors in the film. I factor in all of that and where they're at in the list. The list itself, the points of where we're going to be at with the list, where everyone is. and their place in the list. That to me, that was the hard part, is trying to figure out. To be honest, the top 5 was probably the easiest to pinpoint and put them and know where I'm going to put them. When it was getting towards 5 through 10, this where it was getting a little shifty. I was moving them around quite a bit. But that being said, we start with number 10. Number 10, and some people, this is something that may be not on your radar if you weren't around for when the original came out, but this is one of those movies that's just kind of, now it's all of a sudden coming back, right? And that is Beetlejuice 2. Beetlejuice 2, I mean, just saying that, some of you just saying it, people are going to be like, yeah, yeah, and then you're going to have the other half of the people that are just going to be like, Beetlejuice 2.
Bro, we were promised Beetlejuice 2 a long time ago, if I remember correctly.
A long time ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah, and we're ready for that one. And Beetlejuice 2, obviously you got Tim Burton coming back. You got
I think I saw Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega is going to be the daughter of Winona Ryder's character, Lydia. You have, of course, Catherine O'Hara coming back. That's Delia Deetz. One thing, Monica Bellucci is going to be Beetlejuice's wife. You know who Monica Bellucci is?
No, I don't think I
Yeah, she's that person you've seen. If I'm not mistaken, she was in John Wick 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's the one that she goes sees that she dies, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, spoilers. Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but
No,
I was like,
she dies.
yeah.
She dies.
Okay, I know exactly who it is. No,
Willem Dafoe in this film. I can't wait for that.
that honestly, with the Beetlejuice energy, I'd like to see that crossed up with the
Willem Dafoe
energy.
I like to see Willem Dafoe in anything. Jenna Ortega, I mean, coming off of the Wednesday fame.
It's gonna be a draw. She's gonna be a draw for sure.
She's probably like the perfect. I think that it's almost like they're sitting there and they see how popular she was getting with Wednesday, and then they're like, we got to make Beetlejuice 2. She's going to be her daughter. You know what I mean? Like there's certain actors that come around, and it's almost like you see them in a certain role, and you're like, we got to do this now and come out with this now. That's what I feel like happened with Beetlejuice 2. Maybe not. Maybe you're getting Michael Keaton come in there and just saying, I need to make this now before I get too old. But you have Winona Ryder, who's just, she was the girl back then, and she was perfect in that role. And here she coming back to reclaim the fame here. I mean, not to say that she lost it. I mean, she was doing the Stranger Things thing, of course.
Oh yeah, which is, I think, is going to be another big draw when people hear her
when
name.
that comes back. Here she comes back again.
Even I'm going to say even Michael Keaton with his appearance in The Flash. People are like, who is
there's that
this?
resurgence. That's what I'm saying. I think when you have people that are pitching this kind of movie, they're sitting there kind of going, well, Michael Keaton just came back as the Batman in Flash. And then you have Winona Ryder, who's still relevant, still doing her thing. You know what I mean? Still, Stranger Things is obviously one of the bigger IPs on TV right now.
I think having its last season next year.
Yeah, it's coming up. It's definitely coming up. I think they might be making it right now. But obviously, you have Jenna Ortega, who's just in another class of her own right now. I feel like there's her, there's like Zendaya, there's like some of these actresses, and then they're just, and then there's everybody else, right? You know what I mean? And they're just kind of in that position where they could do whatever they want. And now they're just trying to find and figure out what's like the best thing that they can get from them. So I'm excited for that one, Beetlejuice 2. That's coming out, I believe, September 6th. All right. Moving on to number 9. Another sequel from another film that came out way back when. Not as long as Beetlejuice 2, but it's been some time. The director himself has still been keeping himself relevant. Just came out with a film recently, and now he has Gladiator 2 coming out, and that's going to be our number 9 spot, is Gladiator 2. So Gladiator 2. Obviously, a few Ridley Scott coming back to direct that one. This one's going to be written by David Scarpa. Let me just read you the cast here. You have Denzel Washington. I don't know who he's going to play, but Denzel's in it. First of all, Denzel's in it. What?
He's been doing a great with the what's that movie series that he's in?
The Equalizer.
The Equalizer. I can't remember.
I mean, Denzel's Denzel.
Yeah.
Denzel's just going to be
Man
that
on fire.
tried and true. You know what you're getting with Denzel. And Pedro Pascal, he's probably been the guy for this past like decade in terms of like when you think of male actors who are just almost seemingly being in everything.
Coming off The Last of
I
Us.
might throw Chris Pratt in that mix, but like and not but Pedro is like that one that's just if you're making a serious film and you're you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
he's the guy to call right now.
yeah. Chris Pratt. And another thing we'll go into with him is that he is taking over the animated voice world,
Yeah, man. I mean,
and he's in one of the honorable mention films.
oh, so I can't wait to hear about that one. I'm not sure which one is coming out.
Another title role. Another title role. I'm not
Oh,
sure what to think about that, but another title role. So Pedro Pascal, Paul Mescal, and Paul Mescal's just kind of been popping off lately. He's like he seems to be that guy that every actor is kind of looking forward to see what he's gonna do next. He's seemingly like the next. I don't want to say the next Daniel Day Lewis, but he's certainly got that possibility in him where he's just like you're looking at this guy to be in every great film. He did this film called After Sun, awesome film. If you haven't seen that one, check that one out. But Paul Mescal, he's going to be the title role, playing Lucius, and we'll see where this one goes. I mean, it's Ridley Scott. It's Gladiator 2. If you've
yeah.
seen Gladiator 1, I
The
mean,
writing's gonna be on
even if
point
you haven't
too.
seen Gladiator 1, the references are there. You either know that the tiger, you're like, oh, I know that tiger scene. Those are the things that kind of seem to live on. Gladiator, rightfully so, was one of the greats. And I mean, I'm excited for that one. Napoleon came out recently, and really, really, he seems to do really well with the more historical, like this is a point in time in the past, and just making some kind of action and just making engaging films that kind of have a historical element to them. So there's a lot that there's something you can learn there. But on top of that, he tells interesting stories, and he's one of those directors that's tried and true as well. So if he's putting it out there, I'm watching it.
So I'm excited for this one too.
All right. Next on the list, and this was difficult because I actually am really excited for this movie, but at the same time, I'm sitting there just, again, there's a lot of bias. I won't say a lot. I'll say there's some bias, getting into the ones ahead of this one. This one could have easily been in the top five. I just couldn't. I couldn't justify it just with the top five and how massive those movies I think are going to be. But where we're going with number eight. One of my personal favorite directors. This is going to be a film by Robert Eggers. This is Nosferatu. This is going to be the next remake for Nosferatu. If you probably heard that name before, vampire film. This one's coming out December 25th, and what I'm really excited about, what really drew me to this, is really just Robert Eggers. If you don't know who Robert Eggers is, do your homework because the guy does some great films, out there films. You're talking about The Northman. That's the most recent one. That's probably his first foray into more of a I don't say mainstream, but like more. He obviously is finally getting the respect he deserves in Hollywood as like a director, the type of director he is. You get more money to work with, and now you get into that conversation almost of like what happens when you don't have much of a budget, and how like that kind of pulls you're gonna have to figure out how to be as creative as possible to make this film as great as possible within the budget that you do get. And all of a sudden you're giving all this money, and now you're almost like trying to use those creative juices to try to figure out how I can make the greatest film I can with resources that I wasn't used to having before. So it's almost like you're using a different muscle, I feel like, as a director, and trying to figure out how to make a great film with a decent budget, and compared to, say, a smaller film like Lighthouse. If you've seen The Lighthouse, it's out
Oh,
there,
dude,
kind of whack.
Lighthouse
It's a wild
was.
film, but Robert Pattinson, Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe is kind of, he seems to be the like his muse, as like not muse, but just that actor that always seems to be in every Robert Eggers film. You have Willem Dafoe in this one as well, but this film starring Emma Corrin. Emma Corrin is kind of popping off lately. She's been in some great projects, and she's actually coming. She's going to be in one of the other projects coming up too. So you're going to be hearing that name a lot, and she's going to be in I would imagine a lot more films beyond next year as well. But she's a rising star, and if you start watching her in some of the other projects she's in, she kills it. You got Aaron Taylor Johnson. Obviously, he's going to be Craven. So he's got Craven's another one that was on the list, but I mean, I just definitely couldn't put it ahead of some of these other films. I'm excited for that one though. Nicholas Holt, awesome actor. He's definitely been in the news because he's obviously going to be Lex Luthor in the Superman series and the new Superman films coming out
I'm
for
getting a lot
DC.
more DC Marvel crossover with the actors.
Yeah,
Kind of digging it.
I mean, I can't wait for he. I mean, he is. That's the beast. That's the beast right there. Bill Skarsgård. Come on now, Bill Skarsgård. You,
Pennywise.
yeah, you got Bill Skarsgård in there, and then Lily Rose Depp's in it. So you got some big names in there. And first of all, any vampire flick, then you throw Robert Eggers' name in the mix. Sign me up, man. It's just that simple.
Just based off the Lighthouse, which was in black and white, and the original Nosferatu being in black and white, it really makes me feel like, dude, if this guy could make a black and white movie captivating and exciting like that, I can only imagine what he can do with, like you said, a larger budget and color. So I feel that this is also going to be a dope ass movie.
I can't wait. December 25th. And then next film we're going to be looking at this. I'm going to be honest with you, 100% biased. Like it's just part of my childhood that, and actually it was a little bit before my childhood, but I have older brothers and I grew up with this film and it's very much ingrained in my DNA and who I became. It's one of those films that, it was kind of lightning in a bottle when you look back and you examine that film and how it got to be this popular. But the next film we're going with, and this is in the number 7 slot, this is going to be Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So Ghostbusters, recently came out with, obviously Afterlife was the last film that came out. That, like, right when that movie came out, all the fanboys loved it, right? Because there was the nostalgia hit that hits you right at the end. Egon, that tugged on your heartstrings as a fan. And, the film to me kind of delivered in that sense. It at least hit the nostalgia out the ballpark. The script itself, solid script. It's just the nostalgia hit at the end that really just kind of delivered it home for the fans. And that to me kind of put it in a place where I could get excited for something like this. And the fact that this film is going to be in the post Gozerian era, basically, like we're done with Gozer and then we're just pushing on to some new Ghostbusters lore. If you played the game, the game on Xbox 360 way back,
that was a good game. Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was hours
awesome.
of fucking games.
And they consider that to be kind of like Ghostbusters 3. And to be honest, if they kind of get into some of that realm where they're just getting into a lot of the lore of it, that's what I'm looking forward to. And then also you got these younger Ghostbusters. I hope now that they're more established, and that was my main gripe with the Afterlife. You're not going to get what you got with Ghostbusters because Ghostbusters starts out with them already kind of
established.
They're established friends. They know each other, right? And then you get the kind of new guy coming in with Ernie Hudson, at Winston, and that kind of adds to the dynamic. But they had their comedic tone down already. They're already friends, and you're just going along for the ride. Afterlife comes out, and you're trying to figure out who these characters are, and they're meeting each other, and then it's taking time to get them to that point where now they're just comfortable with each other. Now you got them. Everyone's personalities are out there. Podcast. I did like him in the last film, and so I'm hoping that there's more of that camaraderie and that sense of humor that came along with it. And Kumail Nanjiani's in it. Who knows who he's going to be. Yep, Paul Rudd's always coming. He's coming back. He seems to be in just about everything. But you got the original crew coming back, and I'm sure they're going to be helping him out with this process. But I can't wait for it. I mean, it's Frozen Empire. What does that mean? I have no idea. I saw the trailer. If y'all saw the trailer, I'm kind of excited for it. And not just kind of. I will be there.
I'm super excited. I'm going to be there too.
I will be a repeat watcher.
That's what I'm saying. That's on day one.
That's an on day. Yeah, that's an on day one. Yeah, to me, honestly, all these films are on day one. But that definitely is one of those where I'm gonna have my popcorn ready, hands down. Number 6. We're already getting to the top 5. Again, I'll throw this out there real quick. Ghostbusters could have easily been in my top 5, but I didn't want to be that.
It would have been in mine.
I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be that guy.
I'm super biased. My list, video games, is completely biased.
That's okay. That's okay. I tried to be a little bit even with that. I tried to do some there and some, and get one for them and then one for me. One for them or two for me. I don't know how I did it, but number six, we're gonna go with a film that most people may not know, and it's not gonna be a big name film unless you are a cinemaphile like me. But this is gonna be Mickey 17. This is coming out March 24th. Uh, Mickey 17th, the big draw there. You have some big names. You have some big names, but to me, the biggest draw is the director, Bong Joon Ho. He did Parasite. If you know what Parasite, if you don't know what Parasite is, get your shit together. Is what I'm
I
saying.
think that shit's on Netflix. You can watch that.
That film is amazing, and he's done quite a bit of other films too. Snowpiercer, Okja, if you ever seen that on Netflix. Some of these kind of more socially conscious type of films. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot of layers. It's what I call one
Yeah.
of those onion films. There's just a lot going on there, layer after
I,
layer.
I mean, if you watch Snowpiercer or Parasite, you will get you will get him. You will understand what these movies are, and I think he's great at making those points and not being. You hear people say like, "Oh, they made a movie and it was propaganda." They're trying to force it down your throat, but no, like this one, you're literally thinking throughout the whole thing, and it's not forced. Like he guides you there, and then it's up to you.
The stories to
But
me are
it's
just,
these
yeah,
are
he definitely
fantastic
does
stories.
that. I just like the fact that he makes interesting stories. Like there's something about Parasite that it's just when you just describe it to people, it's like, well, that sounds cool. It's like, no, you have to watch it. Like you have to watch it to really kind of just get you may not even understand what's going on, but you find yourself engaged and just sitting there watching this film, and it ramps and it ramps and it ramps and it gets to the point where it just pops at the end, and then you see, the climax of the film. To me, he's just got his shit down at this point, that he just knows exactly what he's doing and how he's doing it. And I'm excited. You got Robert Pattinson, Mark Ruffalo, that's another Stephen Yeun, Tony Collette, Naomi Act. Like, just the fact that I'm naming so many of these big name actors that everybody's heard of, that tells you everything. You know what I mean? That tells you how much respect this guy's garnered in the industry since of late, more recent films that he's come out with. But uh, when you get these films coming out with a lot of big name actors in them, and some of them probably not even in as much in smaller roles, but they just want to be in the film. You know what I mean? Because they know they want to be a part of something that could be great. And you're seeing all the signs that this film is going to be just as awesome as Parasite, and I'm excited for it. Again, this is going to be coming out in March 24th, and Mickey 17. Now, get into the top five. This is where the heavy hitters come in. These are all heavy hitters, and I'm looking at it now. They're all sequels. They're all sequels, and so and I've already mentioned some. Basically, the 8 of these films are all sequels, but the top 5 are the heavy hitter sequels. These films you can probably put in any order, and it's probably it. Some of you could probably guess the top 5, but there's going to be, again, there's so many films that are some omissions in this that I almost feel bad. And I'm like, how could I
But
not
not
put
only
these
that,
in there?
because we have movies coming out this year that probably haven't been announced yet, or that are like
That's the other
getting
thing
kept
too.
real tight. So
I'm gonna tell you right now, Beyond the Spider Verse is not on this list only because we don't even know for sure if it's coming out
not
in
this year, yeah.
this year, this upcoming year. So originally it was planned to. If it was, I'll tell you right now, it would have been on this list, but it ain't. So we're moving on with to number 5. Number 5, and this is tough to me, and I'm honestly on the fence. I might be switching my. I might be pulling an audible right now. I think I'm gonna pull an audible right now. Okay, now we're getting into the top 5, right? I mentioned to you, I was thinking about it. I originally had the 4th film in this slot, and I was just kind of sitting there, and I kept staring at the name, and I'm sitting there going like, I don't think I could do this. I don't think I could do this. I have to switch these up, and I'm pulling an audible. And the only reason why I have this film and I'm pushing it to this point, going up from 4 to 5, or going down, I should say, from 4 to 5, is because as much of a I'm more excited about the prospects of its visual effects and the storyline and where that's going to go, as opposed to there's not as much bias, I will say, with this film. It's just more I thought the first film was really great, and I'm talking about Dune Part Two. So Dune Part Two.
Zendaya is in earlier mentioned.
Zendaya, you got the it girl in there right now. Of course, probably the it guy right now, and Timothy Chalamet, Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka's in this.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably hates. He's probably gonna hate that after some time, but I'm gonna call him Willy Wonka. You have Austin Butler coming in, probably being, he's another up and comer. Elvis, he's Elvis. Bardem is in it. You have a lot.
Oh, I love, dude. He's
Again,
really good and all. He's
it's probably one of my faves. You got Dave Bautista in it, Christopher Walken, Charles Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, Tim Blake Nelson. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Florence Pugh, is another new name coming in. There's just too many. If you notice, all these films have a bunch of big name actors in them.
Oh yeah.
And again, to me, if one of the biggest signs that a film is going to be great is when you see a lot of these popular big name actors in it. That means that the script was passed around. Everyone loved it. Everyone wanted to be in it. And now here's this film coming out with all these big name actors in it. If you ever watched Oppenheimer, there's so many big name actors in it that are just playing the smallest of parts. And that's because the script is so amazing that people just want to be a part of it. Just want to be in it. All right, just
that credit attached to their name, because I mean that
know,
goes a long way.
5 minutes of screen time, sure, I'll take it. I'm in, as long as I'm a part of it. And it seems like these films, they get those big name actors, and it's for a reason. And I'm excited for this one. This one I believe is coming out in. We're looking at March 21st.
Oh, it's another one that's really.
Yep, March. Like I was saying, March and May seem to be the big months. Every month it does feel like there's something coming out, but I'm excited for this one. This guy's probably gonna ride that damn worm. I'm just gonna throw this out there. He's probably gonna ride the worm in this one. And
also,
if you've seen the films, you know what I'm talking about. But
have you heard that people say that Star Wars was stolen from Dune?
I have heard that. And that's okay. I'm okay. With whatever people have to say. I thought Dune was great. Am I as big a fanboy about Dune? I feel like Dune has the same kind of fandom that, say, like Star Trek has. Like, it's like a certain type of person that's always going to be well read. Is going to be like a fanboy to the point where they just kind of know things, and they're trying to explain it to you, and you're just like, okay, yeah, I got it. Whereas like Star Wars, it's a different type of fandom. You get a lot more casual fans who are big fans of Star Wars.
It's a lot easier to follow. From what I've heard,
it's a lot easier to take in. This one is almost got like, I don't know what it is about it. There was something that was like a little.
It feels like layers to it.
Because it was like a little slow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you've seen Blade Runner, Dennis Villeneuve, you get a lot of that too, where it's just like it feels slow, and I almost had to watch
the movie bad.
I had to watch this film a couple times to really appreciate.
Oh yeah, this is like a you have to pay attention kind of movie.
You have to pay attention. You can't just sit there and casually watch.
You'll miss small details, which isn't bad. But also, it's like, again, if you're like really into the franchises and you're really into the movies, you're gonna want to pay attention, like with any film. But again, there are films that you can just and enjoy, but there's films that you're like, oh shit, I wanna know all the lore to this. Yeah. I want to know why this is happening.
The first one was pretty great. It builds up. I have a feeling they're going to kind of get it right. I feel like this one's going to be even better than the first one, and that's one of the main reasons why I was in the top 5. Again, there was some films I actually wanted to throw up into the top 5, and I have a feeling about this one. I have a feeling this one's going to be great. So I'm excited for it.
Me too. I agree. It's a good franchise to follow too.
Yeah, you got Timothy. How can you go wrong? You got Timothy Chalamet in there, and of course this one's going to be coming out again on March 21st. Now we're getting into the number 4. Again, this is we're getting into territory here where depending on who you are, you're rearranging these films however. It just comes down to personal preference, I think, at a certain point. And even the top 5, I feel like the top 5 is just, there's going to be some people who sit there and go, Dune is the best film coming out next year. I'm not going to argue that. It just comes. I feel like all these films are going to be great in their own way, and it just depends on what kind of fan you are. So I'm excited for all these films in the top 5. But number 4 is going to be Joker, Joker 2, Folie à Deux, and this is coming out on October 4th. Uh, if you saw the original or the last Joker film, obviously Todd Phillips coming back, Joaquin Phoenix in the title role there, and let's, I mean, there were some actors in that film,
Bro,
but let's just throw this out
I'll
there.
tell you this: Joaquin Phoenix, like Javier Bardem, anything they're in, I'll watch.
Yeah, yeah, they're one of those actors, right?
And you know what? I didn't know Bardem till he was in that. And this is gonna tell you how much I am about movies. So he was in that James Bond one,
Mm-hmm.
and then I saw him, and I saw him sitting there as the villain when they're on the island,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Fuck! I slept on this guy. I fucking slept on this guy."
Really?
Yeah,
Most people say they saw him in No Country, and they were like, "This guy's amazing."
I didn't watch No Country till after that.
Oh my goodness. Going back to Joker, so Joker is pretty much the thing. Joaquin Phoenix, amazing actor, right? And then it's that thing with Joker one was that there wasn't really, I mean, other than Robert De Niro, there wasn't like the biggest name actor, like any. It's not like one of those, like I mentioned, those films that just seem to have a bunch of actors in it, and they just want to be in the film, and it's none of that. It was like we have our guy and we're telling the story and it's pretty much he is the guy and it's all him. That film is all him.
The story was good enough that I feel that they didn't need big names.
It was all about him.
The writing, the directing is what made this movie pop off. And you know what? There's a lot of movies like that I like, but I think this is honestly in recent years one of the best movies I've seen.
Yeah,
Joker.
and weirdly enough, I feel like there's a lot of people. It's almost like you either love that movie or you didn't really care for it too much. You know what I mean? Most people loved it, but of course you had that one or two people who would always just be like, I didn't really care. I thought it was too dark, or they're used to seeing Batman and all that, and it's a different type of vibe. And all of a sudden there's this psychopath. It's like a portrait of a psychopath, right? And how he gets to that point, that breaking point, and instead of like it is a sad ending, and you're seeing that that tragedy unfold, but at the same time it's weird because he's fully becoming who we know as the Joker,
Yeah.
and then we're kind of like, oh, that's who you recognize, the guy dancing, going down the steps, doing all that, all the showmanship, and then just kind of those snap moments that he has, and I just love what he did with the role.
Dude, and the contrast to each other Joker is
Yeah.
great because it seems like he has a little bit of each of them, but in his own way. So, like we talk about the Jokers, and then everybody's like Nicholson, and then a little bit after Ledger. We won't name the next one, but then you have this one, and I think this is one of the ones that was accepted right away. Like there was no debate about whether it was good or not as the Joker. It was like,
You know what's the
was the
weirdest
Joker.
thing about it is that if you were to have a poll and rank like who was the best Joker, Heath Ledger's still gonna win. Like there's something about the original guy that he was just like he knocked. That shows you how great Heath Ledger was in that film. Is that you could probably still have polls and look up any polls, you'll probably see that Heath Ledger is still like considered to be the best Joker that's ever done it. But what he did was something kind of unique and special for me, and I just like the vibe of the film, the contrast from like where it starts to where it kind of the climb. The third act of the film was one of the best. Weirdly enough, and I don't know if this is if this is a negative on the film, but when I don't rewatch the film as much. I have rewatched this film a bunch of times. I rewatch that third act more than anything. Like when I turn it on, I want to get to the point where he snaps, and then he starts becoming the Joker right away. And it's not that I don't. It's not that I didn't think the first part of it, the
For
first,
Phoenix.
yeah, for the
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix film. It's not that I didn't think that this was like that was bad or anything in the first. It's
But you
just
want to
he
get
was
there because
so
you want it.
because he's so good. Like he's so good in that part. Like the look when they did that little teaser before this film, like the trailer even dropped, and they just kind of show you and they're playing that I forgot what the song was. They're playing like that clown. It's like an older song. Um, and they're kind of just zoning in on his look and the makeup, and I was like, that's can't be really him. Is that really him? Yeah, that's him. Holy shit, he looks amazing, And so he just had the look. He obviously is dedicated to every role he does, and this is what we haven't even mentioned Lady Gaga on the role of Harley Quinn. Where that's gonna go, as someone who's not really I'm not a massive Lady Gaga fan or anything, but she's that kind of, from what I've seen, she's that oddball that she might be able to pull that off. Harley Quinn is like another. Obviously, you have Margot Robbie playing that role. It'd be interesting to see somebody else tackle that role, and I hope she's able to do with that. That what Joaquin Phoenix did with the Joker role. I feel like you have so many iterations of the Joker that have come out, and he somehow managed to come out and do his own thing and still make it great. And that to me is probably the greatest part of that first film. And I mean, I'm excited. There's no other way to put it. I'm pumped for this one. Again, we will be there day one, ready to sit there with popcorn ready.
Butts and seats.
Butts and seats. Okay, that's gonna be in October. Top three, baby. Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait for all these films. But and this was one where I kind of I'll tell you right now, I honestly think that this film might end up being, I don't know. I really don't know between the second film and this film which one's going to be the greater one of the two. They both have equal opportunity to be both great. And fun fact, this film and the second film are coming out on the exact same day. So figure that shit out.
It's going to be a coin toss for that one.
Yeah. Figure that shit out. Okay. So in at number 3, we're going to be going with Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. So Furiosa, obviously a prequel film. If you've seen the Mad Max film with Tom Hardy in it, probably one of my favorite films of that decade. It actually is one of my favorite films of that decade, maybe of all time. Like, I don't know if it might be in my top 10 of all time. And I love that film. I can watch any time.
Dude, the fact that it was all like mostly practical effects for the driving. There was a few scenes, but it was mostly practical.
They're
effects,
out there in that desert.
Like, that's fucking dope.
Driving those crazy looking cars.
Yeah. Honestly, when I saw it, I honestly had the feeling, I was like, oh, it's gonna be all CGI, and then they're like, oh, here's a little behind the scenes before, and then they show everybody out there. You're like, oh man, I'm gonna have to watch this for sure. And it was a fun time. It was a good time. It was a great story.
That's what, when they say like this film, when you see those little taglines and they say like on the box of the film, roller coaster ride or something like that. This was a legitimate like roller, like it starts and it does not stop until the credits are rolling. And but obviously this one's going to be starring Anya Taylor-Joy. We got in the title role of Furiosa, but we got Chris Hemsworth. Those are the two big names. There's obviously some familiar names coming back from the original. If you're looking at there, yes, the War Boy. Daniel Weber as the War Boy coming. Angus Sampson, he plays the doctor.
Oh yeah, keeping him alive.
Nathan Jones is Rictus Erectus. You know Rictus Erectus.
Oh, was he the announcer?
He was the big buff guy.
From the other Max ones, right?
Yeah, from the other Max ones.
Yeah, I can't remember.
So Furiosa, I mean, it just would go without saying. I'm not gonna lie, they are riding the coattails off the first film, in the sense, in terms of my hype for this film, just because the last film was so awesome. I can't wait for this film. You know what I mean? It breaks all the other rules. Like, there's not any other crazy name actors in it. I guess you could say one of my rules being that you go off of the director more than anything. And George Miller, obviously coming back, he took a long time to make the last Mad Max film and get that story going, figure out how he's going to make it, and then actually execute it. And he's getting to this. This one's coming out obviously a lot more quicker than we spent time in between the Mad Max 3 and then Mad Max Fury Road. And so I'm just excited to see how everything unfolds and we get to that point. Obviously, this is going to be a bit of a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road. And, I mean, I've been saying this with every film, but I can't wait. My butts in seats.
Butts in seats.
We will be there day one. So now going into number 2. And this one, by the way, will be coming out May 24th. And
so is this next one.
So is this next one going to be coming out on the exact same damn day? It's going to be Kingdom of Planet of the Apes. And Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I was struggling between which one's going to be 2 and which one's going to be 3. Yeah, for me, I guess you could say it's a little bit of bias just because I thought the first 3 films were so amazing, and that series is probably one of my favorite series of that decade. Dawn of Planet of the Apes, the second one in that series, is probably one of my favorite films, probably ever. You get into the CG. To me, the CGI was so groundbreaking. They knew that they had just knocked it out of the ballpark because they start that movie right there on Caesar's eyes, just showing you like, yeah, we got this. You know?
Not only that, if you watch the behind the scenes, the actors were all great at their roles. And was it Andy Serkis?
Andy Serkis.
Dude, he's so good in everything.
Kills it. I mean, you have the guy right in the title role, and he sets it all up. And Andy Serkis has kind of proven himself to be one of those kind of actors that's just, almost like in Willem Dafoe territory, getting in there where he's just whatever he's gonna be in. Especially if it's some kind of like a wacky type role or something out there, if he's gonna be the guy, I'm watching. Like I'm watching every time. And Kingdom of Planet of the Apes is supposed to take place quite some time after. I'm hearing as much as like 300 years time passed since the Caesar storyline, um, and obviously things have evolved to a certain point. That to me is kind of interesting in itself because we're gonna get to a point where it's like I have no idea where they're gonna be at. You know what I mean? Humans have not, they've already become the inferior species at this point, and now you have these territories developing. I did hear something to the effect of the film kind of being more or less like a apocalypto, but with apes. And so that got me honestly even more excited for the film because I'm sitting there going like it's going to be some sort of like a journey for this one character, right? And he's going to be almost like reminding himself of he's going to be reminded of where they came from. I'm sure Caesar's imprint's going to be throughout the film and the heart of the film, and I'm just excited for this, man. The CGI effects, I can't wait to see where they kind of taking it and how they are able to implement that within the story. Directing wise, West Ball. And you got some of the actors themselves. I feel like they're not necessarily like the biggest name actors, but they same thing with the last film. Other than Andy Serkis, there wasn't really any major superstars in the film. Because this is all CGI work. You're playing these apes, and at that point, you're getting into more like Avatar territory.
Yeah.
They're all dressed up, and they have to play the role. I do see William H Macy's name in there. I'm interested to see where the heck he's coming out in this. Is he gonna
the only human survivor just out there?
Yeah, that's what
bathrobe?
That's my guess.
Like,
I'm like he's gonna be some like rabid human survivor that's out there. But I don't know. It'd be interesting if he's playing an ape though.
What do you mean I have dementia?
Yeah. I love me some William H. Macy, man. That's all I know. But you have again, if you haven't seen the trailer, check that one out for this one. Again, maybe writing off a little bit of the hype from the original films, and I don't know what to expect from this. But I can't get the feeling out of my head that the feeling is that it's going to be amazing. So I can't wait for this one. Again, May 24th. And coming out same day as Furiosa, and also same day as the other honorable mention, Garfield. And funny enough, I bet you Garfield is going to make more money than both those films.
Jeez, is what's his name back in as Garfield?
Chris Pratt playing Garfield.
Chris Pratt playing Garfield. Oh, okay, I guess.
As in regular Chris Pratt voice. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, how do you think it's going to compare to the one with
Bill Murray?
Bill Murray, yeah.
I kind of I wanted him to just go a different direction with that voice. I don't know. I just cannot picture Chris Pratt with that voice.
I watched Mario again, and you do hear Chris Pratt come out every once in a while.
Yeah, of course.
For the most part, he keeps it hidden.
Yeah. But this one, if you've seen the trailer, it's just Chris Pratt.
It's just Chris Pratt?
It's Chris Pratt.
Well, I mean, not every movie is made for everybody,
Yeah, but I love Garfield, and I'm hoping. I had a little bit of the same thoughts when Super Mario was coming out, and I heard about him playing that role. I don't know. I'm not gonna judge. I'm gonna try not to judge. I'll say that. I probably will. I'm just saying. But yeah, but all those films coming out May 24th. Which one are you gonna watch opening night? I don't know. I honestly might pull a
Double feature.
I might pull a double feature. I might pull a
You
double
can give it
feature.
ass the next day off.
I know it's Thursday night. Never mind. I'm not gonna do that.
We can do the double. I'd be down if you do double feature. I'll do double feature with you. Okay, ask for the next day off.
I couldn't do that. I'll still be going to work like a jackass.
No, just ask for the day off. You'll be fine. We ask for the day off. I'll ask for the day off for you.
Shit.
You know what? Let me call our boss right now.
I'll be like, you know what? May 25th.
We're not
gonna be there. Yeah, we're not gonna be there. I'll be back at the theaters.
I'm not asking you. I'm just letting you know that I'm not gonna be.
I'll be back in the theaters for the second showing. No, I can't wait for that weekend. That weekend has got to be the biggest weekend, and I have a feeling it's going to be one of the biggest weekends for films in a long time. Obviously, I mean, I don't know if you can ever beat Barbenheimer, but we'll see how that goes. I can't wait for that weekend, and we've reached the top spot.
Now, before you get into this one,
I mentioned this to you, and you kind of were like, I don't know, and I'm like, how can you not? How can you not know?
Well, I was not going based off of I'm gonna straight up say it, bias. I thought you were gonna go off like, I'm gonna weigh the movies, but like you told me earlier,
this isn't even biased. I think this is just gonna be the biggest movie of the year, and it's being built to be that way. The one thing that I think doesn't have has going against it is the recent track record of all the films coming out for the studio releasing this film. And if you're a fan of the first two, I could see you kind of how you would be a little bit weary about this next one coming out, but it's being billed as like the next one, bigger than No Way Home, like bigger than all these other films that just have all these characters coming out. If you haven't figured it out, Deadpool 3. It's not even close. Like, it's not even close.
To say it back. I was like, no, this is your segment.
I thought about something. I was trying to think about something quirky to say, and it didn't come to me. And I'm like, I'm just gonna say the name. That's it. Deadpool 3. Obviously, you got a lot of chatter coming out from that film. Apparently, there's cameo after cameo after cameo. And normally, I might say, I don't know how I feel about all the cameos and other that, but like, the fact that it's Deadpool and it's Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool,
the character lends.
I want to see that. Yeah, he lends himself to that kind of scenario, 100%. And there's not a lot that they're telling you. They have confirmed some of those cameos. Obviously, you'll have. I know for sure they've confirmed Jennifer Garner coming back as Elektra at some point. How much is she going to be involved with it? I'm not sure. But you're going to get. We're getting it. We're getting it. They've been lobbying for this partnership for quite some time.
We
the
fans.
Ryan Reynolds probably more than anybody.
Probably.
He's been trying to pull this off for the longest time, and the guy even said, "I'm done." And guess what? No, you're not done.
No, but everybody says that. Jackman said he was done, but there was an interview after, and it was around the time that Disney bought Marvel, and he said, "If Disney does a movie and they want Wolverine in it, I'll do it." And I think, the fact that Reynolds is a big Deadpool fan, and he would push for this, like it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. I don't think this should have been a surprise to anybody. The surprise should have been, why did it take so long for it to happen? But to be honest, I'm actually glad it's the third one, because the introduction of Cable in the second one was my favorite part.
Right.
Because to me, that was something we haven't seen in a long time. A buddy cop movie.
I did love their dynamic, and just kind of that was 100% a buddy cop movie. You had that was the classic. Actually, you just had these superheroes playing them. But to me, the comedy. Which one did you love better between Deadpool 1 or 2?
I'm gonna say 2. Just because of the. And it's my bias. It's because of the cable showing up.
Yeah, you're a big Cable fan.
I'm a Cable fan. I'm a bigger Deadpool fan, but with us not getting Cable in an X-Men movie, because in Days of Future Past we got Bishop.
Yeah, which is weird that you would get. I mean, Bishop's pretty is a decently popular character, but I mean, Cable.
Yeah, they
Above and
had they.
beyond that, even.
I think the longest running series for Deadpool is Deadpool and Cable,
Yeah.
or at least one of the biggest.
Everyone loves that
Series.
dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the super serious, I'm on a mission versus, the merc with the mouth. And he just, the second one, I almost find it like it's just, I feel like the first one, if you're looking at it from a movie making standpoint, is probably a better put together film. But the second one, the comedy for the second one just kind of knocks it out the ballpark. That shit was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
The baby Deadpool
Baby
scene,
legs.
baby leg scene. That one had me. That one had me in stitches. And obviously you got some big names coming out in this one. You have a couple people returning, and I'm surprised by some of the returning names here. But you do have Brianna Hildebrand coming back as Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Saw that one coming. Yukio, can't wait for that. They were so cute, weren't they? You have Dopinder, of course. Dopinder's coming back. Question is he going to come along with Deadpool? Or is he just going to be right there in the beginning for a little bit and then?
Because he did shit in the second one.
Oh yeah, he did some. He did some
killed
shit.
That guy.
He killed that guy. As a matter of fact, yes. Colossus obviously coming back. Yeah, basically the original cast coming back. Odd note: Rob Delaney coming back as Peter. I guess he's still around. He's missing an arm, right?
No, because remember in the flashback he saves him.
Oh, that's right. He saves him. Oh well, Peter.
He's the
welcome back, Peter.
He's the only one he saved.
He let everybody else down. Yeah, I get that. Matthew McFadden from Succession. Obviously amazing in Succession. So it's going to be interesting to see who, how they have him set up. Of course, Miranda Baccarin coming back as Vanessa. Emma Corrin coming, dude. I'm telling you, she's rising. She's rising. Emma Corrin, and she's. I'm catching up with this show, but A Murder at the End of the World. She plays the main character in that one. That's an awesome show, and watching it, I was like, okay. I feel like this girl's going to be in some, and then sure enough, I'm looking more into it. I'm like, oh, she already is. She's already being casted in some of the bigger films.
Beat you to it.
Yeah, she's already there. But yeah, she's looking to be probably the baddie of this film. Who she's going to be? Rumor has it she may be playing Cassandra Nova. Obviously, this is it's I guess more or less an obscure character from the X-Men. Supposed to be a long lost sister of Charles Xavier. We'll see if that's the route they go with it, or how it'd be interesting to see. But I could see her being a certain type of villain. I'm sure she'll be great at it.
Well, if she is his sister, could you think? Well, I mean, he came out in the last one. I'm sorry, in part one, all the X-Men made an appearance in that one scene where he goes, "You guys can't afford any better X-Men," and they close the door on him. So hopefully,
they can afford them now.
Besides the list that you saw,
in fact, they're putting all of them in there.
Yeah. So we could see more, which would be a great jump off point for the coming X-Men movies.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of X-Men, and there's that rounds out the top list there. But 2024 is going to be an amazing year. That one's coming out July 26th. Bunch of honorable mentions. Obviously, you didn't hear Godzilla X Kong in there. Cap 4, Ballerina. That's going to be a John Wick spinoff. The ones, some of the omissions that I was I was on the fence about. Just real quick, A Quiet Place Day 1. I'm excited for that one. I honestly, that could have been top 10 for sure. Civil War, which is Alex Garland film.
Oh,
another kind of like socially conscious type of director. That's the trailer I
saw earlier, and I was like, bro, we gotta go watch this. That's gonna be one I'm gonna
amazing films.
Yeah,
and so I can't wait. That one could have easily been up there. Another Ethan Coen film coming out. The Coen brothers just make magic, man. No matter what they do, those are those directors that I will be there no matter what. And then for animated films, it's going to be some competition. You're looking at Inside Out 2. That's probably the one I'm most excited for. Despicable Me 4, and then Garfield. So it's gonna be a pretty big year for animated
Kids
films. On
too,
top of
man.
that, yeah, kids are gonna have some movies to watch for sure. Sonic 3.
Oh, I'm gonna go watch that one.
Yeah, I know you'll be there for
Fuck
that
them
one.
kids.
Sonic 3 may have been in your tops. I mean, and then lesser named films. Terrifier. Anybody?
Terrifier. Oh
For
my
you,
god. I
for you
think
psychopaths out there.
that's on a Halloween top 10 for sure.
Yeah, no, that includes me. I'm also apparently a psychopath because I love the first two Terrifiers.
They
It's
were so good.
yeah, they were good. Of course, we got a Bob Marley biopic.
Oh, that's gonna be exciting to
We'll
watch.
see how that goes. I hope they do it justice. And then just a real quick honorable, but good Karate Kid with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan, Mr. Han character in the same film. They are looking for. They're basically doing some sort of sweeps. I don't know what they're doing, like a contest. They're looking for the next Karate Kid.
Gotta try out. Go try out.
You gotta go. I'll be over there.
I got them high kicks.
I have the headband somewhere in here.
Be like, I provide my own costume.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of there's a bunch of movies that I'm not gonna mention, but just for time reasons. But
the 2024 the 2023 writer strike really did push back a lot of stuff, so it is gonna make a bunch
we're getting
of
that we're just getting that surplus of all these films coming out this year.
Not to mention the announcements that would have been made this year for movies that were coming out last year. They got pushed back to 2025.
Yep.
So 2025 might also be an exciting year. So it looks like there's just a fun time ahead for us.
Well, you know what? You know, there's some people are concerned about the state of films and where that's going to go, and just what kind of films are getting made and what it's always been like that. There's always been that issue of like, well, you know, they're spending money on all these films that seemingly, you know, are just kind of terrible. You know, and even on paper, they're kind of terrible. And for some reason, they're getting all this backing with money.
And the worst part is they make those terrible movies and then they put them out, but they make awesome movies and then they shuffle.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Warner's brother, you son of a bitch. Which they just shelved one, and everybody's mad. And I think they opened an investigation about it.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that. But yeah, that makes out the top 10.
Fucking Warner
The top 10
Brothers.
films of 2024. That's Jam's list. And you know what? There's some. You know, I will be in the theater. If y'all need to be there with me.
Oh shit! Well, that was really fun.
I will be in the theater. Y'all catch me there. I will catch you there. You know, if you see me out there, say hello. Don't say hello. I'm not a very social person.
Just wave from a distance.
Just wave from a distance. Or just stare at me. Be like, oh, that's that guy.
Let's move on to the next point, which is we just had the new year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been New Year, and everybody's talking about their New Year resolutions, which I personally believe are complete bullshit. You know, you don't need it to be the new year to get a resolution. You know, fucking just try it. But I've heard some egregious New Year's resolutions because everybody's like, oh, I'm gonna lose weight, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. From a buddy of mine, his New Year's resolution was, I'm gonna open an auto shop. I'm like, motherfucker, you went to school for business. What do you mean you're going to open an auto shop? Yeah, man, I'm going to work on cars. I was like, oh, my God. I was like, well, hope you got YouTube opened up because you're going to be watching that shit
so
all day.
Does he actually know cars? Or
He knows cars.
Okay.
Does he know how to fix cars? Probably not. Has he had to fix a car in his whole life? No. He changed his exhaust. He called me over to help him.
Okay. Yeah. No.
So, but
you're setting yourself up for failure,
so,
maybe a little bit there.
Maybe, but I mean, if he's got the drive for it,
Yeah,
he'll do it.
Yeah,
but that's what I want to talk about. Like, not just the basic. I'm gonna lose weight. I'm gonna travel more during the year. Those are fucking bullshit.
Don't be hating on that, man.
No.
I will lose weight next year.
Yeah, but you've been working on it already, so you're not day oneing on New Year's Eve, you know.
What I hate about New Year's resolutions is the whole like overnight. Like I need that one just the fact that that the 2023 is now changing to 2024. We're just changing the last digit, and that's the thing. That's the thing that's gonna make you make a life change, a lifestyle change, a full
Yeah,
on thing. You've been living your life a certain type of way
for
for
every New Year's before this.
yes, in which case you failed at this point every New Year's before this, and now you're gonna make the change all of a sudden.
Yeah.
The idea of the New Year's, like I get it. You got to get
New
motivation
year,
wherever
new
you
me.
can. Yeah, I mean, the fact is, I think most people, or not the fact is, but at least what I think is that most people kind of just they have those things that's going on in their lives that kind of makes them go up and down, up and down. You know what I mean? Take losing weight for example. People have certain things that they plan where they're going to go out and be at vacation or whatever. I got this big event coming up in a couple months. I'm going to lose weight for that, and then you do that, and you lose some weight, you kind of get to that, but you constantly need those things to keep you motivated. And to me, the main issue is nobody fucking likes themselves. Like it's just that's why Lizzo's so like popular. I think is because that just the message alone of just love yourself, and she radiates that kind of energy. People want that. Like people want to be
Yeah,
able to somehow pull that off.
and that's not bad.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's
let's
good.
let's not make excuses for, I honestly think if you're gonna set a resolution, you should do it any time of year. But you shouldn't resolve to 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 reach a goal. I honestly, what I feel a New Year's resolution should be is learning something new. You know what I mean? Because these things, losing weight, traveling, those are things that you should be focused on year round, right? But learning new things is something that as we get older, we really don't think about. You know what I mean?
No, you only zone in on the shit you already know.
Yeah.
You kind of just start to carve yourself out more and more. It's like literally like making an ice statue, but and you're carving yourself out to be your perfect self or whatever, your best self. But then what you're also doing is getting rid of a bunch of shit that used to be a part of you too. You know what I mean? And to me, it's just that New Year. The New Year resolution thing, I feel like most people set themselves up for failure whenever they're getting into that New Year's resolution, and I'm gonna New Year, new me, and that whole mentality, and I don't want to be sitting here like down talking that person who is like that, because like at the end of the day, at the
Yeah.
same,
Some people can achieve that way, I think.
some people can,
But
some
for
people
some of
can,
us,
but
it's
most
harder.
of us, we fucking fail. Like we set ourselves. It's kind of like saying all of a sudden I'm gonna go on a diet and lose weight and do this and that. It's like you can't just do that all of a sudden. Like you have to take the baby steps. You have to kind of be working at it slowly. You have to be trying, failing, trying, failing, trying and failing, and doing a little bit better every time until eventually you finally get it and it clicks and it's like, all right, now I'm kind of sticking with it. I feel like I got this. I might break every now and again, but for the most part, I'm getting there. And it's to me it's a process is what I'm getting at. And so all of a sudden it's like I'm going to lose all this weight, or I'm going to learn how to play the guitar, or some kind of crazy shit like that. I'm going to start a business. And it's like I mean, if you have that thing that just allows you to do that, more power to you. But in my experience, most people don't have that. Most people are kind of, again, I feel like when you set yourself up for failure in that way, and you do end up failing, that almost becomes more of a detriment to your development as a human being, because it's almost like you're getting used to the fact that you're probably not gonna
Yeah.
make that
And
happen.
in the future, it seems easier to give up. You don't have that determination anymore, which is why I feel that learning something is a great way to go for New Year's resolutions. And I'm not talking about learning calligraphy or learning. I'm talking learning skills that'll help you, like how learning determination. You know, being able to say like, "Fuck, I failed." Like you said, I failed, but it doesn't mean that's the end of it.
Yeah.
So learning stuff like that, I think this year is what I'm going to try to do.
For me, it would be discipline.
So you're going to have to learn discipline this year.
Yeah, like I'm trying to get myself to at least. I think you have to. I think the key is to just be happy with the progress. Stop getting so stuck on the angle, and like
Enjoy the steps along the way.
yeah, you gotta just enjoy the minor victories and be able to still allow yourself to be and exist in those moments and be present in those moments. That you're feeling the full weight. A lot of times we're really good at feeling the full weight of the failure, right?
Oh yeah.
But you start getting better at feeling the full weight of the victories, even if they're just minor victories. I lost a little bit of weight, and that you almost get this mentality of just like, well, things to like people, things are supposed to be a certain type of way, and when they are that way, great. Let's see what's next. You know what I mean? And instead of like being happy for that, but when things are bad, we put a spotlight on that bad thing, and it becomes like the thing that pretty much becomes our how do you say it, like our not our personality, but like it becomes our
Oh, I understand what you're trying to
like
get at.
our represent not represent what's the word I'm looking for? It's not representation. It's like it becomes the one thing that just
Like a definition of
yeah,
who
like
you
the
are.
definition of who you are basically. And to me, uh taking again, putting emphasis on those minor victories is probably I try to always think about little baby steps when I think about losing weight, for example. um and I still haven't gotten perfect at it, but there's the hardest part, and the thing that I understood and that allowed me to kind of make strides in that department is not being so focused on the end game, but just understanding that, man, I may not, if I don't even know why I'm starting to work out right now if I eat like shit still. You know what I mean? I can't even get that right. And so you're trying to sit there and do everything all at once. And it's like, of course you're going to fail
It's
because
overwhelming.
it's too much. Like you can't just you can't flip your life upside down like that and stay consistently at that and just think that it's going to stick that way.
Yeah.
And then you realize like life keeps smacking you upside the head.
Oh
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Life will keep knocking you back down, and then you're sitting there like with this mentality going almost like it's I thought it was supposed to be great, right? I thought I was supposed to be just having all sunshine and rainbows. Now I lost 20 pounds, everything's supposed to be everything's supposed to go that way now, and now I just experienced this thing that pushed me back a peg or two. That's not supposed to happen. You know what? I'm gonna have some pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just that I feel like people end up in those scenarios where it's like you got to understand that your life's not necessarily going to change for the better all of a sudden because you lost weight or because you opened this business. That is a step forward, and that's something to celebrate 100%. But I mean, it requires a lot more than that. There's a certain level of discipline and determination, that these kind of like more breakdown of these fundamental things that you need to have in order, and not just have, but like be almost have get to the point where they're almost like ingrained in you at this point. It's the hardest thing, and we talk about it all the time, to like rewire the way you were wired. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You can't. It's so hard to change the hardware. The software. Maybe you could work with that a little bit. You can make those updates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the hardware, like,
That's you know, and you talked about like the little pieces of what ultimately build up your goal. I that's where I felt that I was like, I'm gonna learn things. I'm gonna learn, what it's like to go to the gym a couple times a week. I'm gonna learn that discipline because, like you said, even if you're going to the gym 3 times a week, you have some pizza. That's not gonna be as big an effect against you as, say, I gave up going to the gym. Now I'm just gonna have some pizza. You
yeah.
know?
Well, that being said, I mean, try to avoid the pizza. Like I love it.
So do I.
That's a
So
problem.
I heard somebody say the other day pizza was overrated, and I was just like,
Fuck out of
if
here.
it were not for the laws of this land, I would slaughter you. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
and then I'm gonna have some pizza afterward.
uh,
You know,
I've wanted
I will
pizza.
say I am a child of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like that was a big, like that was a big thing of our child. And I'm a part of four brothers. So for some reason I feel like there's a deeper connection to pizza between like my family and the average family. But we love our pizza and we celebrate it in a certain type of way.
That was
Not the
that was
healthiest.
that was the, that was the food for birthday parties. It was always pizza.
It still is.
Yeah,
It still is.
it's so good.
It's delicious.
You said pizza was overrated. You know who you are. Coming for you.
Come at me. I'm coming for you, or you come at me. One or the other.
But thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed your time here. We hope you enjoyed the movies. If you have your own movies that you're looking forward to, or any reason you might have to look forward to movies, put it in the comments below. Let us know. Maybe we also feel those things, but we didn't mention them. But thanks for watching.
And if you're seeing this around this time of the year, hope you had
A great
awesome,
New Year.
happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Awesome New Year. Hopefully y'all stayed safe. And if yeah, and everything goes well at that point, because I've had some bad horror stories of like I've known people that just there's always some crazy shit that happens New Year's is what I'm saying. So stay safe out there.
Stay happy. Learn something new. Come back next week for another episode where I will be going over my completely biased. This is 100% biased video game list. There also wasn't too many video games announced. I think we're getting to that point where companies are learning to not announce their games so far ahead in advance, because then people are like, "Where's the game?" And then,
I do have some thoughts on that, but we'll get into that.
But
I love that. I do love that just off the top, but we'll get into that.
But we'll come back next week for the next list that we're gonna have. Which these episodes, I don't think they're gonna be lists every week.
And this is EP1. This is EP1. Okay,
we're learning. We're learning this year. This is what we're learning.
There were times where I was sitting there and I'm already looking back, going like, "Well, you could have done that better." but
that's why
that's
editing.
Okay. That's okay. That's basically what I'm saying right here. That's all right. And we're definitely as we get going, we'll be growing, and I'm hopefully y'all are there for the ride, man. You'll grow with us.
Yeah. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a happy New Year, happy holidays, and happy movie watching. Happy movie watching. There you go.
Speaking of, could have done that better.
Let's go back and do that again.
How about we just leave him with peace?
All right.
Peace.